there's this question that's out there, and it is a lot of people want to know what it is that they wish they knew before they said I do. And
I wished I would have known you. No.
that's a great answer. But
Duh.
and to go deeper in that, I wish I would have knew certain things about
About
you.
you. Yeah.
And even another step, how you think about specific
Oh my
things.
God. Yeah.
Because
Do you talk? Only when I'm asked. Oh, I didn't know that about you. And I want to have a conversation for a couple of hours and you can't do it because you don't talk. You
right,
know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right.
It's just like, are you affectionate? If you touch me, I'll touch you.
Rock that never moves. This is how we learn what real love proves. Next level marriage podcast. We're calling you to something deeper, something pure and true. Male and female, just the way he plays.
Welcome to the Next Level Marriage Podcast. I am one half of your dynamic duo. I go by the name of Dr. James Bird. And along my side, my lovely wife, and she goes by the name of,
Dr. Angel Bird,
and together we are
the Lovebirds.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode. And please, please, please like, subscribe, and share. We need your help getting the message out to more people. We really, truly believe that relationships as a whole are in trouble. And we wanted to do everything that we can to help relationships. Would you say that? Would you agree with that?
I think they're more in trouble than the people that are in them know they're in trouble.
That's a grand statement. Dive into that a little bit more.
Why did I not know that was going to happen? I just really believe with the lack of knowledge and the lack of tools that people have, in the lack of God that they have, that people's relationships are more in trouble than they even know.
That's good. I'm glad I asked you to dive into it because when you dove into it, you brought a different perspective than what I thought you meant by when you said that.
Okay. What
And
did you think I meant?
What I thought you meant, I like what you said that you meant. What I thought you meant was they're just kind of existing in the relationship itself and don't know that it's more in trouble than it is. Because I know men a lot of times are in that space, and women are ready. They're ready to see a counselor or ready to walk away, and the man's like, What's wrong? I thought we were cool or whatever. I didn't know it was that bad. I mean, I know it ain't perfect, but I didn't know it was that bad. What's going
Yeah.
on or whatever. So when you say they're not in, they don't realize how bad a shape it is. They don't. That's what I kind of thought you.
Yeah,
referring to.
because with all those three things that I listed, then they don't even realize it could be better.
Yeah,
And,
that's,
and
yeah.
because with the lack of the tools that you don't have, the lack of your intimacy relationship with God, and just the tools you just never got or you didn't use or you received and you put them on the shelf, they are more in trouble than they know because the times that we're living in, the pressures and the things that are going to happen is going to push those things to a level, and they're going to realize that they didn't build this on a foundation that was strong with concrete. They built it on straws and all kind of different stuff.
We saw an example of that during the pandemic.
Oh boy, yeah.
There were a lot of couples that thought they were okay because they were working their separate jobs, taking kids to practice, doing all these different activities and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, when they were stuck in the home and forced to be around each other consistently on a day-to-day basis, they realized that they didn't know they didn't have the tools to deal with each other that closely and that intensely. And a lot of couples didn't make it through the pandemic. So
they did not.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. So yeah.
And so that makes me think, when you start talking about tools, that makes me think about, even when people, what do you think about this? Even when people hear about tools, because tools are available out here in this space.
Yeah.
We're going to be bringing tools constantly. When people hear tools, they don't necessarily always know how to make those tools be a part of their life and a part of their relationship.
Yeah, because they putting one thing before the other. They're reading books, those that do, self-help books and things like that, but they haven't gotten the real tools. And if they don't know the foundation of their identity and who they are in God, then the tools that they have searched for are temporary.
Okay, so before we get to those tools that they search for that are temporary, let's start with the first tool that you talked about, getting to know their identity in Christ.
Yeah, because I can forever be existing and living and know that I'm a girl, know that I'm now a woman, now know that I have children, but still have no clue why I was born, who I am, and what my true identity is. And I'm operating from a place of a false identity that somebody else gave me other than God. And I believe that until people discipline themselves enough to be able to find those places, any and everything that they do outside of that thing that they put all the time and work into, when it comes to relationships, people normally don't put that kind of work in. And so until they understand that there is already a blueprint and that there's things you must do within that blueprint for the relationship to be healthy and whole, that I believe that those are their first original tools. And then we come up with, okay, let me give you some tools for the communication of that. Now let me give you some tools for conflict. Let me give you some tools for the different things. Those are add-ons. Like you have your menu and then you can do add-ons. Those are what those are.
Okay, and so we're still talking about the menu, still talking about the identity piece. So now let's say they watched something like this and they heard that, oh, there is a blueprint, and or they had a conversation with you, and they were at a good church and somebody told them that there's an identity that you should have in Christ. There's a blueprint for your life, and now they obtain that knowledge that there's a different way that I should be doing this. But then now, how do I become that different person? I want to make sure you understand what I'm asking.
So if I run track and I've never done it before, I'm going to have to show up to practice every time the coach say I have to show up because his goal is to make me better. People don't show up practicing the things that are their tools and the things that God has given them to be successful in a marriage. They don't practice those things. And they think they're going to happen automatically because I love him, I married her, and we're supposed to make this work. Most people are winging it still to this day because they have decided that they are the inventor of marriage. And as long as you believe that your way is better than the Creator's way, you're going to always fumble up and fumble the ball.
Right.
That's just bottom line.
I love the analogy you gave about practice, about going to practice, going to practice. And so what does practice look like in the sense of gaining this new identity about who I am and what marriage is supposed to look like? Because a lot of people, I don't believe a lot of people know that.
It's how bad you want it. That's just how I look at it. How bad did you want to make it to the lead?
So it's really about the desire, how bad you want it.
Desire and the intention and the discipline.
So if I want it bad enough and the desire and the detail, then I'm going to find the information I need. I'm going to do what I need to do.
Like the book of Romans say when it first starts out. In the day that we're living in, you are without excuse. Any information that you want to know today, you can know.
I 100% agree with that.
So the only reason you don't know is because you didn't put into practice how to go find it.
And I want this space, I want our podcast to be a place where they can go to come and find that. And so I would just chime in. I would just add that you have to, if my identity is supposed to be in Christ, and he laid the blueprint of marriage, then some of the places that I need to go to find that would be Scripture, would be a good Bible teaching church, would be maybe a good small group, a faith-based marriage podcast, things like that. And then I would also have to stop focusing on those things that had my identity somewhere else.
Yeah. And I would even kind of vary away from a faith-based podcast, a biblical-based podcast of the truth.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's a whole bunch of faiths out there.
Yeah.
And so I just want people to be clear. I don't believe a marriage can work without the person who created the blueprint. I just don't think it can. And if you want answers, if you want information, we can't drag you to it, but we can help you get it.
Yeah, 100.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can want it for you all that we want, and probably more than you do. But at the end of the day, we can't make you do it.
Right. And a marriage absolutely can't work the way it was supposed to without the creator and without the one who created marriage. Because somebody might hear that statement and they'd be like, well, I know people who don't know God, who don't follow God, and they're married and they stayed married their whole life, But that doesn't mean that they're doing marriage the way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Marriage has to, there is a blueprint for marriage, as you so eloquently said. And man, I love this line of conversation that we're having, because not everybody's having this conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we're having this conversation. I would love to continue this conversation, but I think we're going to go into the direction that we kind of maybe had in mind for today's episode. And so with that in mind, there are millions of couples out there who are still searching for marriage. Some are already married and want to have a better marriage. Some one day want to be married. Mm-hmm. There are still those people out there who, I'm not sure I want to get married, but that's because they haven't seen good marriages. When you see a good marriage, marriage can be like heaven on earth.
Let me look over here since you are.
But bad relationships are not necessarily going to make you feel like you want to get married. They can feel like hell on earth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so there's this question that's out there, and it is, a lot of people want to know what it is that they wish they knew before they said I do. And
I wished I would have known you. No.
That's a great answer.
Duh.
And to go deeper in that, I wish I would have knew certain things about you.
Yeah.
And even another step, how you think about specific things.
Oh my God.
Because
yeah. Do you talk? Only when I'm asked. Oh, I didn't know that about you, and I want to have a conversation for a couple of hours, and you can't do it because you don't talk.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just like, are you affectionate? If you touch me, I touch you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so many things that you just don't even know until you in it. And it's like, boy, I wished I would have known that. You see what I'm? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we can help. I think we can help people that are in it and need to know some things, but I think we can even greatly help those that are considering it, so that you can talk about these things before you actually say I do.
Yeah, so many people think the podcast is for married couples, but if I was a single, I would be listening to every episode. So I don't make the mistakes the married couples have already made. Oh, I should be looking for this. Oh, I should be looking for not the red flags no more, but the purple, green, and orange flags. I mean, it's so many different things that if I coulda, woulda, shoulda, and so singles have no idea what they're missing out on if they don't think they should listen to a marriage podcast.
Absolutely. So if you are single and you're listening to this, please share with some of your other single friends.
Yeah.
And if you're married and you know some single people, please share with them as well. And so we're gonna dive into a few today. And this is not some exhaustive list or something like that, but these are just some things in research that I found out that a lot of couples are hitting up the internet. They're hitting up Google. They're hitting up chats. They're hitting up all these areas of information to try to find out what they need to know about these subjects or these topics before they say I do. Okay. And ever since I've been married, and this one has always been the top on the list. And I've been married to you 34 years. And I'm sure this was on the top of the list before even me and you got married. And it's always been communication.
Yeah.
Communication has always been the top on the list. It's probably because it's probably the number one thing that couples struggle with at some point in their relationship.
I mean, when you think about nothing can be done in the marriage without communicating,
Absolutely.
then it has to be up there at the top of the list because I can't get anything done without communicating
You can't.
to another person or another human. And in a marriage, if that doesn't exist, you really don't have a marriage.
No. But then this is baffling to me. It takes communication to start developing feelings for someone and to get to the point to where we want to engage into a romantic relationship and then to move that even further into saying I do. So it took communication to build to that place. But then somewhere along the way, after we've been together for a long time and we've said I do, at some point communication starts to break down.
Because you was fake.
You think everybody was fake in their communication?
No, I'm just laughing that you had the ability to do it to get what you wanted. Because you had a goal in mind. You had this female in mind. Because normally it's not the female doing the pursuing, especially back in our time. It wasn't her, I'm pursuing you, I want to marry you. You're not doing the asking or any of those things from a female perspective. So that man showed that they had the ability to communicate in a way that caught her attention, that made her have some kind of feelings for him, thought he was a good enough guy to marry because he was so accurate in his goal and pursuit. And then all of a sudden, in the marriage, even before history shows up in the marriage, oh, I didn't know you watched the game this much. You've been here sitting here watching all the football games for like 6 hours.
And he says, I was watching football before I met you for 6 hours.
But I'm just saying that now you ain't by yourself and you don't get to go do that like that, even though people do. But now she's sitting like, he ain't said nothing to me in 6 hours. There has been no communication. Oh, he can do this all day. But you are no longer single. So you don't get to sit at your own crib. Back then you sat at your own crib. You didn't have nobody interrupting you or telling you. And when she got the phone call or when, hey, I'm picking you up for dinner or you want to go see a movie, all of those things, that was normal. And in that time, she had your undivided attention. But she had no idea when I lived with you that this really who you were and that you really didn't talk that much.
So when they're engaging into a relationship and they're communicating on the phone or they date and and they're getting this communication, she needs to. So are you saying that she needs to not be so much only just focused on that communication that's going on when they're together, but she needs to be asking him what is he doing when they're not together?
You need to know more than what you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so I think people date wrong.
So how should they date?
I want to know what a Sunday look like for you throughout that whole day. I want to know without me spending the night. Let's be clear. I want to know what the day-to-day look like. I know you got to go to work. I hope you go to work. I want to see what that look like instead of, oh, I'm so in love and, oh, our date is going to be so romantic tonight. We're going to go to the, what is it? Just say Ocean Prime or something. We're going to go to Eddie V's and we're going to.
We ain't going to keep giving y'all free advertising. So we're just going to say
that
restaurant.
was the last time we said that. I'm just saying those things are planned out perfect and it appears to be perfect. But that's not real life.
No,
and you're not supposed to be living together before you say I do. Right. So you have to create moments and times where you can see a full blown out how you really function and how you operate.
So something that looks more like a normal
thing
life
instead
together.
of something that seems so romantic. Yeah. Life is not romantic.
This is so good. Because if that's just think that if that's all we do over the course of a year is have dates, romantic, all this kind of stuff. I'm catering to your feelings, trying to
my
make you
God. How
happy,
you feel?
all that kind of stuff or whatever. And then we come together, we say I do, we come together, and when we get into real life, you like, where's all my romanticism?
Yeah.
Where's all that at? And he's like, we gotta do real life. We gotta go to work. We got kids. We gotta do and so now it don't feel the same.
A female don't have that button.
Yeah, yeah.
She don't have the button that it ain't gonna stay like that.
Right.
You guys should be bold enough to say, let me tell you something.
And that's why I love the point that you said that we should, in the dating age, we should do things that more are to like real life, because what we need to understand is that the way in America, the way we do dating, it is
I think it sets you up for failure.
It 100% sets you up for failure,
Yeah.
because the main purpose of marriage is not to make you happy.
Period.
Now, if we're both loving each other the way God loves us, then there's going to be a lot of happiness that comes out of that.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking that.
Yeah.
But the purpose of it is not to make another person happy.
Yeah, because if I started today from where I am today, my conversations would never be about romance. It would be like, what is the purpose and plan for this family? What does it look like, and what are we going to do in this marriage or this relationship or this family that's going to edify or glorify God? Like, what does this look like? Okay, so how are you going to go about bringing in finances consistently? Do you have proper life insurance, or do you just have it on your job? So if you get fired tomorrow, it's over. So then you don't have nothing. So you're not going to leave no generation on nothing. Do you see? It's like questions that I would ask today, I never thought to ask in my 20s.
Yeah.
And so I am telling 20-year-old girls today that, wait a minute, you dating a guy and he got a job and he got one kid and he don't have no life insurance? Oh, he's not thinking mature.
Yes.
He's not thinking mature. And just in my group that I had the other day, I asked, out of all of those people, only 3 people had it. And then the ones that did through your job. So that means if you lose your job, it's over.
Yeah.
It's like, and you got kids. It's like people are not thinking about real life stuff.
And no life and nobody probably has enough life insurance through their job to pay off their house
No.
if something happens, to set up their family, that they don't have to go and immediately marry somebody else and bring another
Yeah.
income in and make
Yeah.
it work or something like
Absolutely.
that. They just got enough probably for you to put them in the ground and a little change left over.
Yeah, and also, so we were having another conversation, and one of the people said, I just feel almost the burden heavy as I want help. I need the spouse to come in to help take off some of the load, some of this. And I said, well, you've never had that before, so how can you compare that? And I said, you can't compare that to nothing. I said, it shouldn't even be a heavy anything based on this is what you've done. And I said, and then you don't want someone to come in only for those reasons. Because guess what? The age I'm at now, you ain't coming in and it's no 50-50.
Right.
I wish you would show up and have a conversation with me today where I'm at today, talking about, so I'm bringing this to the table and this 50-50, then dude, you ain't the one.
Right.
Because there's no way that you shouldn't be prepared at our age to be able to financially support your wife.
Right.
Without me having to do 50-50. I'm like, that's insane.
Yeah.
And so just the things that people don't discuss because they don't have the tools, or the tools that's been given to them, they're not using them.
That's so good. And so this level of communication is paramount for somebody who is not married, but they're looking to one day be married in that type of relationship.
Yeah.
But then now, also, we want to also speak to those that are already married.
Yeah.
And you realize that your communication is an issue. And that could be for all kind of reasons. That could be for all kind of reasons.
Man,
but just
that runs deep.
off the top of the dome, you know, people that are in a relationship and the communication is bad, they're always yelling, fussing, fighting, or silent treatment is always going on.
So what do you think?
As far as
Yeah.
Well, let me finish the question, and then I'll tell you what I think. People that are always fussing, yelling, and cussing, or whatever, or people that are getting in, that's fight mode or flight mode. They're doing the silent treatment type thing. What is it that they need to focus on to rebuild communication, where communication is now a good thing in their relationship? And so that's kind of my question. And so you asked me to, what do I think on it? Just off the top of my dome, I think that we both the people in the relationship need to do some exhaustive research on what real communication looks like and what it's about. And because we talked on future podcasts, past podcasts, that when communication is not good and we get into that Cain mode, that could be fight or flight. When we get into that Cain mode or that enemy mode, our perception of what's going on cannot be trusted.
No.
And,
Not in any enemy mode.
not in any mode. And
There's several modes.
neurologists, when they've studied the brain, they liken it to when our phones, I got a phone around here, when our phones are put into airplane mode. Anybody who knows this, when you put this phone into airplane mode, I can't receive calls. I can't receive certain data. It won't do the same things that it does when it's in its normal state. To get it operating like it does in its normal state, I got to take it off of airplane mode.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody gets that analogy. And so we are the same way as humans. You're the same way. When you're in a natural, free-flowing state, everything's calm, everything's fine. You're thinking rationally and you're thinking properly. But if all of a sudden your memory kicks in about something you see or hear from someone that you're in a relationship, when I say your memory kicks in, something they did or said, it reminded you. And that happens in a blink of a second before you know it. It reminds you of something in the past about them that you don't like. You immediately, your mind immediately kicks into airplane mode. It immediately kicks into enemy mode, and you don't even realize that it happens. And now you're in fight or flight, that psychologists call it fight or flight mode. Now you're in this mode. And what do you mean by fight or flight mode? Now fight mode is kind of like this. I sense something in you, and I gotta rush to you to stop it. And that kind of causes a fight. Flight mode is, I sense something in you and I want to get away from it. And all of it just causes more fight or flight. It just causes more conflict and things like that. And once one kicks into it, usually the other one kicks into it, and now we're in that conflict cycle. So that's what's happening in the relationships. It's not that you want it to happen. It's just that you have so much history with the person, and there's so many memories, and the brains work in such a way where they look to protect themselves, and they don't even know if, like, the body doesn't understand protection in the sense of that this is just my wife and I want to protect myself from this conversation, versus that's somebody that's dangerous and I need to protect myself for my life. The body just feels I need to protect myself, and it goes into protection mode. And so now you're treating your spouse in a conversation like they're the enemy. And you'll say things to them that later on, when you calm down, when you take yourself off of airplane mode, you're like, man, I wish I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a believer.
Oh, yeah.
And you like, man. And now you're going to God and you're like, man, how am I still saying that kind of stuff? And heaven forbid that after you're saying these type of things or doing these type of things, that you're the type of person that can go off to yourself. The camera's right there. You're the type of person that can go to yourself. I'm talking right to you, even I'm talking to you as well. You're the type of person that can go off to yourself and tell yourself that I wouldn't have did that, or I wouldn't have said that if she didn't say what she said, or if he didn't say what he said, or if he didn't do what. Now you're shifting the blame to the other person, and you can't grow by shifting blame to another person. You got to accept that no matter what they do or no matter what they say, I'm still responsible for how I respond and for what I say. And so that's one of the things right off the top of my head that I would say to people who are really battling with communication in a
And I'm
relationship.
just trying also to create a balance, because sometimes I get tired of hearing what something reminded you of. If you're doing the same thing that you did in the past, then it is accurate. And so many times we try to say, that's my past. But are you doing that in this moment? Are you still doing the same thing? Are you still that same person?
Yeah, it's
Do you
that's
see
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying.
saying?
But and I'm not saying it matters. I'm not saying that it matters whether they're doing it or they don't think they're doing it, or the person just thinks they're doing it, and that's not what they think they're doing. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that our brains, they
No,
don't.
but we call
they
it
go into enemy mode.
I know, but everything, in my opinion, is not always enemy mode. I am looking and I'm observing and I'm watching something that has been done in the past that makes me feel unwanted or degrading or any of those type of things. So the right thing to do to make sure that it doesn't go too far or blow up in a moment is to back out. Let me back out of this conversation, because I have also reference of what it looks like if we keep going.
But I don't necessarily. I don't believe that backing out is enemy mode.
Okay, because I only keep hearing enemy mode in
Or
all
Cain
the,
mode
okay,
or whatever.
yeah.
Because if I just graciously and lovingly want to back out of a conversation, but not back away from relationship with you, I don't feel like that's Cain mode. I don't feel like that's a bad thing. But if I want to back away from a conversation, and then everything in me, I don't want to be around you, and I don't even want to talk to you for a while or something like that, then I'm in silent enemy mode.
Yeah, I can agree that.
get
I can
around
agree
that.
that. But I can also say, if if a woman is in a relationship and she's called names, or you don't have to be my enemy, but in this moment, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah, you're protecting yourself.
I'm protecting myself.
But she don't have to be in enemy mode.
No, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
And I'm saying if a woman is used to getting hit and you raise your hand, then that means that I know exactly who you are and what you're about to do, whether I still believe I love you or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be for those reasons. It's because you are truly doing something to harm me.
Yeah, and that's a whole different topic. Because
Yeah.
if we talk about that,
But we're talking to the world.
I'm saying, yeah. And so if we're talking about if you're being abused, then distance yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever. Enemy mode comes for a reason. It comes self-preservation. You're trying to protect yourself or
Yeah.
whatever. I say distance yourself. And so I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
But when I'm saying, what I was sharing to the people, I'm talking about if I'm just talking, you believers, you Christian, whatever, you love each
It don't
other.
even matter
and you're just
anymore.
arguing and fussing and fighting over
Yeah.
what we call dumb stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it ain't even nothing that's major or important, but you just find yourself in a cycle of conflict where you're
Yeah.
fussing and fighting or silent treatment and things like that. We hear women say, man, he ain't talking to me right now or whatever. Or he ain't even he's sleeping in his office, or he's sleeping on the, he ain't even whatever. Or, these type of things or whatever.
Yeah.
That's because you're in a place that you're not wanting to engage relationally with the person.
But we keep on saying, if you're a Christian or if you're a believer, they do that too.
Who's that?
Believers and people who say they know Jesus.
That's
People
what
who
I'm
go
ta-
to church.
that's what I'm saying,
You see what
yeah.
I'm saying? And it's like, this is what you do too. And
That's
it's
what I'm
like,
saying, yeah.
they beat up their wife too.
They do.
You see what I'm saying? They cuss their wife out too. Is my heart broken the thought that is possible?
Man, yeah.
That blows my mind, but
Yeah.
it is possible. And we still say, oh yeah, he's a faithful believer. I don't agree.
If anything, he's definitely immature.
No, if you're beating your wife,
Oh, beating that, yeah.
or if you're cussing out your wife
yeah.
and doing those things, that's not immature. You have a problem. Do
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? It is something. You don't know. You don't know God.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah. Well, I love this. This brings up a great, because we don't know where the line is or whatever.
Yeah.
Because what I was going to say is, like, I'm just the type of person that when I gave my life to the Lord, I decided that I didn't think that was cussing was good. That I
Yeah.
don't think that's something a believer or Christian should do. And so I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I used to curse before I knew the Lord. When
But
I-
make it clear you weren't cussing at me.
no, I never cursed at
No,
you.
you did.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No,
let's
I
be
mean, when I
clear.
was out playing basketball or out in the streets or whatever, I get into an argument playing basketball or something like that. It's just cursing as just a normal part of language or whatever.
Okay.
But when I gave my life to the Lord, I did away with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But there are some people who they didn't do away with it in the sense like I did. We're just using this cussing as an example.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kind of may have did away with it in the sense that it's just not a part of my normal, everyday, free-flowing conversation.
Uh-huh.
But when they get angry,
Yeah.
it'll come out.
Yes.
I believe that there are people like that,
Mm-hmm.
but that when they're not angry, they still really love God.
Yes.
And they still
yeah.
really, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They still really
but
desire.
If I think that you can ball your fist up,
Not hitting. Like we need to talk about this. Let's talk about this. Why is who you been talking to that's hitting?
No, I said-
because that's not who our podcast is for.
yes, it is.
I'm saying I don't mean that. I mean like if it is, yeah, you need to hear this too.
Yes.
But I'm saying most believers should not be hitting people.
But this is where we are today. So I am talking about.
or most people
No,
hitting?
I didn't say most, but
Oh.
you said believers should not be hitting.
Right.
This
Maybe
is
we'll
where
do
we
an
are.
episode specifically
Yeah, today.
for that. Yeah.
So if I turn on the news for the last 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
if you molest a kid as a pastor, you will ball up your fist and hit somebody.
Yeah.
So I am talking about what is happening today.
Do you think a man who calls himself a pastor that molests a kid is a believer?
Do you think a man who balls his fist up and punches his wife on a consistent basis is a believer?
I don't.
I don't either.
Well, I
And
asked you
but
first.
no, but
Why you had to make me answer first?
So what I'm saying is when you turn on the news, they're in the news just as much as any other criminal or anybody else. So now we're living in a time and day where we can no longer just say, if you are a believer. We need to now separate the two of what this looks like.
I love that.
Do
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're
Because
saying.
we can no longer put it all in one basket.
No, we can't.
And we can no longer, I don't even really want to be called almost a Christian. Just call me a disciple of Jesus Christ. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
real
Because
follower,
the
yeah.
name has been so polluted,
Tainted,
and stuff of this wickedness that is happening. The ones, and then we still call them that.
Yeah.
Because we're afraid. I ain't afraid.
No.
The moment that I see, like what I say in 2026, I am a fruit inspector.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer going by if you're standing in the pulpit, if you're standing behind whatever,
Yeah.
if you're at the biggest conference in the world preaching, unquote, the truth
Yeah.
based on biblical information.
Oh yeah.
I'm no longer just judging that no more. It was a time where we just took you for your word.
Right. Right.
No, I'm not doing that. So when I'm saying
That's
that
good.
thing, I'm just talking about we're national, we're broad, we're everywhere. So I'm no longer just talking to, because there's a woman that can be listening that's married to one of the largest preachers in the world.
Yeah. This is good.
And she's suffering
Yeah.
in silence because nobody is addressing this stuff.
Right.
And they'll stay in it for the clout, for the glamour, for all of those things to protect. If that was who you were, I would never protect you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want you to.
You see, and so
Well, if that's who I was, I probably would want you to. But,
But
who I am, who I really am now, I wouldn't want you to.
But who I've always been, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You see, and so it's like I want them to be able to understand that someone understands and that they
That's
can
good.
be free to cry out. That
Yeah.
is somebody that will listen. Because that's just been like heavy of watching all of the wickedness that I'm seeing in the
Right.
body of Christ. I'm not concerned about the world
Yeah.
in that way,
In that
because
way.
that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I am very concerned about the church.
And I used to didn't understand how that could be.
Yeah.
That you call yourself a Christian, you go to church, you read the Bible, you say you pray, but yet you can do all this wicked evilness. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about in a moment of emotion you lose your temper.
No.
I'm not talking about that.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're perfecting and growing into
yeah,
Jesus.
I'm not talking,
come.
but I'm talking
Yeah.
about you are sleeping with somebody that's not your wife.
Yeah.
You are molesting somebody.
Yeah.
You are. I mean, just this
Yeah.
vile stuff or whatever. And I used to be like, how could you do that and call yourself a Christian? But now I think I understand why, because so many people in America or in today's world, we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled that there's this born again club or this minimalist, that if I say this prayer, if I repeat after you and I say this prayer and I believe that Jesus is God's son, then when I die, I'm going to heaven.
Yeah.
So that makes me a Christian. And that is nowhere what Jesus taught in the Bible.
No.
That absolutely is not. That doesn't make you a believer any more than me standing in a garage would make me a car. It absolutely
Yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to look in totality of what he taught, it's about making a complete, full decision to enter into an eternal, kingdom-minded relationship with him, where you are no longer your own. You do what he tells you to do. You don't do sin and evil and vile. That's not who you are.
Yeah.
You live a different way. There's not no little behavior modification, or I go to church and no.
Yeah, because communication is so huge, and then you have people in marriages, one or the other, they're afraid to communicate. Is there consequences? Or one of them is more dominant, and then they're going to dominate the whole thing, or they're going to try to make you be like them and think like them, and all of those things that play a part in why people stop communicating.
Okay, so what if you have somebody that one of the person is domineering in the conversations, and the other person is quiet. They don't really like to say much or whatever. What's some advice for them?
Well, you have to first understand what is taking place in that moment. Is it domineering to me because I don't talk as much as them? Or is them being quiet, they're being quiet because they're not as loud as me? It's deeper than that. Because if you have the floor to be able to conversate and there's nothing happening to you if you do, then that's on you if you don't. Do you see? Then you blame the other person for the reason you don't. That right there is not fair.
Okay.
Because some people are going to say what needs to be said and what they feel, and some people's like, well, I'm gonna hold it right now. I just don't feel. That ain't on the other person.
Right. So what if they're afraid to share it because he is gonna start yelling and cussing at them or whatever, something like that, or there's some type of consequence. Maybe she runs the home, he works, she doesn't work, and then he like holds the money, withholds doing nice things for some type of consequences.
And it's key when you ask questions like that or bring stuff up, it keeps taking us back to why you acting like that? Like, so do you believe that money your money? So you believe that you are your source?
I think we should always. I'm okay. I think we should always continue for the next however many years we're in this podcast world of pointing things back to.
I'm always
original original problem.
And
I still want to talk about it.
I understand.
I mean, I want to bring some details
but
and
my
clarity.
DNA can't help it. Do you see what I'm saying? So when I hear you say he's cussing and fussing and almost intimidating, bringing fear, then now I want to know what's up. Like, how do you go pray to a God, get on your knees, and show up on Sunday and lift your hands, but this is what you're going to do to another human?
Right.
You don't know the love of God.
You don't know, yeah.
Do you see? And so it's going to always take me back to those places because that's how I connect dots. That's how I become a fruit inspector. Because wait a minute, that ain't even adding up. And it's like, how did I learn the characteristics and the character of God? I studied him and I studied through and I start connecting dots and seeing, oh, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't say that. He wouldn't have left me out to dry. He would have protected me if I was in obedience. So all of those things. So I do the same thing with humans.
Yeah.
And so it's like, so you doing what? And I'm supposed to believe I wouldn't even respect you when you talk to me about God.
Right.
If that's who you was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even believe you knew him because I don't believe that I can cuss you out and invoke fear to you and not have the fear of God to do. The fear of God will rise up in me to the point where and if I even thought about it, it will be crushed quickly.
Right.
Because of the relationship.
Yeah.
And so I hate that we even have to talk about these type of things.
I love talking about it.
happening in people's relationships to that degree where you're like,
Yeah.
she's dominant, he's fear, and he's cussing her. I mean, like, for real, body of Christ.
I got you. Yeah.
You say that's the part I'm talking about. Not that we don't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
but it's like, it saddens my heart
Yeah.
that we've been serving God 20, 30 years and we still at home cussing our spouse out
Yeah. Or going silent for days.
for days. And it's just
Barely
like,
talking.
and I remember saying, I don't know when I said it to you, but I just remember me and Holy Spirit having this conversation. Then I said, I was just like, I may not be in agreement. I don't want to do it or whatever, but I've made a decision. I'm going to still come sit on the couch.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I forgot what I said
You
to
said
you.
that December 17th at about 4:30. Man, I'm good.
What's like, he needs to repent. He can't remember what day to the next. But whatever that day was, do you remember me coming and saying, you don't have to be my enemy.
Right.
I can still have a conversation, even if I feel not connected.
Right.
I can still have a conversation. I can still sit on the couch and watch a movie. That doesn't mean that I have to go in my past. I didn't want to even be on the couch. Do you see what I'm saying? But now it's like, okay, is he the enemy or not? And is he a man of God or not? Do I like these behaviors, or do I like that this ain't changed? No. But the longer you go to the other space, the worse it gets. And so since I know what that looks like already, then on purpose and intentionally, I do something different.
Yeah. No, I agree. And because I study the love of God, and you mentioned the love of God, and because I'm studying more and more the love of God, then I'm trying to rethink and teach myself that it does not matter if I like what she said, if I like her response, if I like something she did. It does not matter, because God has not liked everything that I did.
Absolutely.
Because I haven't not always did everything that he wanted
But
me to do.
good luck telling
or that I
people
should
that,
do.
because we
But
don't
he
see it that
still,
way.
He still continued to love me and pursue me. And so now I'm saying, okay, if that's the way that God loves me, then that's the way I have to train myself to love others. And starting with my own wife, but love others. And so I have to look at my wife. This is to try to help people. I have to look at my wife past some actions or some things that she may do that I don't like, or, that I don't agree with, or whatever. I have to look at her as a human being that I have the opportunity to love and to express the love of God to.
Yeah.
And that's why, like we said back in the beginning, marriage is not about making the other person happy. Because if it's all about making happy and feeling happy, when I don't feel like you making me happy, then I don't want to express love in that time.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I necessarily stopped loving you in the sense that I want to get a divorce.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I don't want to express love.
I'm withholding.
I'm withholding love. And
God, please don't ever withhold your love from me.
oh my gosh. And the way God is, his love has always been about what's good for the other person.
Yeah.
And so I should always be wanting to act, think, and treat you in a way that I feel is good for you. And not what I think is just good for me.
Yeah.
Or good for you and me, but good for you.
Yeah.
And that's not the way we learn to love and growing
No.
up in life.
Everything is, what can you do for me, and what can I get out of it?
How does it make me feel?
How does it make me feel? Have you noticed, like, when you go on dates, even in your marriage, the man for some reason still feel like when he went to take you out and he paid for dinner and he ate with you, even as your wife, he still think he's supposed to come home and get some.
Yeah, and I don't think it's because he paid for dinner and he took you out or
Maybe
whatever.
you.
But I think it's because he feels like we had this
But it's always
this event or date or whatever, this romantic even whatever, and she's in a good space or a good place, and so she probably wants to do that or whatever. But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter whether we whether we had a great date,
Yeah,
or
or-
sat on the couch, or whatever. It should just be about, I want to do what's good for you,
Yeah.
and she should be about, she wants to do what's
Yeah,
good
the
for
tit
him.
for tat is a destroyer of marriage.
And that all comes back to about how we feel and how we want to make. How about we get married to see how we can make God feel, and how we could express that to God, and make our marriage be an expression of goodness to the world and to other people. That would be a whole nother reason to get married. Man, I mean, we are, I said in this episode that we're going to talk about things you wish you knew before you said I do. And we only really got to address one. And we may have mentioned some things here, but we really only got to address one, which is communication. And I don't even think we've exhausted communication today, but for the sake of time, we're going to have to either revisit this on a future episode.
Because if you call this part one,
or
and
part one, move into
then it'll
it.
be a part 20
Hey,
because it's so much to address.
I watched 20 episodes of Suits. So
Nothing more than that. It was 9 seasons.
9
so
seasons,
you
and
watched
each season had
at least 9, 10.
Suits. Yeah, it had a
No,
lot.
Suits had more than
It
that.
had more than that. Yeah.
So don't say you only did 20.
Yeah, so if I watch a bunch of episodes of that, then I should be willing to watch enough episodes of something that I need to know before I say I do. And not only before I said I do, but we also spoke to the people who already said I do,
Yeah.
and how you can move over into that. But I know it feels like I'm bringing this to a close, but I just realized I'm not sure that we tied a bow on what these couples could do to bring themselves back out of this negative communication, whether it's because one is domineering, one's not, one just wants to be quiet, or there's just enemy mode kicking in, conflict mode kicking in. What can we do to really come out of that? Solution.
Some people can't come out on their own.
Okay. How
And
they come
some
out?
people need that third party. And we're not when we say third party, if it's us, you get both of us in like marriage counseling. And I would say don't be ashamed, because if it hasn't worked in this long, it won't probably continue to work. And if you don't want a divorce and start wiping out generations based on these choices, then humble yourself, get rid of the pride, and get the help that you need so your life can change. And in our communities, still to this day, that's still a hard thing for people to do. Not so much for women, but so much for men. And I would start there, because some people can't even start with the God journey because they have been so directed wrong, or they don't know how to go about it.
Man.
And so I won't even hold that. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I thought I was. No, just because you go to church every Sunday for 20 years don't make you know God. And so there's so much to this. But the real thing and the truth to it is there is help.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
That would be my thing, that you don't have to try to figure it out on your own, because God has sent you help.
I like that. And I would add to even before you go to seek the help, you got to realize that you need help.
Yeah.
And so don't just listen to this podcast and just let it go in one ear and out the other. Kind of agree with it mentally, but don't do anything about it. Grab yourself a mirror, or go stand in front of a mirror and say your name. This is not for anybody in particular or whatever. I'm just going to make up a name. You know, if my name is Larry, I go stand in front of a mirror and say, "Hi, my name is Larry, and I'm a bad communicator."
And the other thing is, if you're thinking about divorce, that means you need help.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
You know
saying?
what you said? Thinking about. So if you have thoughts about seeing yourself
Gone.
seeing yourself, even if you don't have somebody else that you see yourself with, but seeing yourself potentially being with someone else, seeing yourself, how would this look if we were co-parenting instead of being in this house together? How would this look if you're having struggles getting that out of your mind?
Yeah.
You need to
Need help.
seek help.
Yeah, because we can give you all the signs and all of the things that you need help.
Yeah.
If I haven't been talking to my wife or my husband for 2 weeks, you need help.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Or I'm barely.
Yeah.
Because we know, everybody knows what you're talking about when you say silent treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to add to it the minimalist talking, meaning like over the last 2 weeks, I only said the least that I could say. No engagement in conversation,
Yeah.
no engagement in relationship, no touching, no anything, no sitting on the couch together, but just the now all of a sudden you want to study now all of a sudden you want to study a lot. No, you want to separate. That's what you want to do.
Oh my God. This woman on one of these shorts came in and stood behind her husband and said, it's been 2 days and you haven't talked to me. What's going on with you or
let's do
whatever?
it.
And I think he said,
Ask me. Do
Okay.
it. In case they ain't see it, we can do it.
I'm trying to remember what she was asking him because he was on his
Have
phone
you noticed it's been 2 days,
days
and I
that
haven't really been?
talking to me.
So
And
let's
she
play it
said,
out. Let's play it
so
out. Start
how-
over.
Do
Take
you-
one.
Have you noticed it's been a couple of days and you really haven't been talking to me?
Yeah, I noticed.
So what are you going to do about it?
Can I get another couple of days?
And that's so real.
Yes.
That is so real, especially from a man's perspective.
And that's a sign you need help. If you're actually
that
happy
good. Yes,
that
yeah.
she's not talking to you.
Yeah, that you away and give me. Can I get some more? You asked him for more days.
Yeah, can I get some more of that silent treatment?
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God.
yeah.
I love doing this. This is so fun. Sometimes I think that if we wanted to, we could do long form for about 2 hours on some of this stuff. But
Yeah.
we're gonna go ahead in there, man.
I break them up in two.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Next Level Marriage Podcast. Man, I love doing this with this lady. I'm one half of your dynamic duo. I go by the name of Dr. James Bird. And my lovely wife, she goes by the name of.
Dr. Angel Bird.
And together we are
The Lovebirds.
Please like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next episode.
See you next week.
Rock that never moves. This is how we learn what real love proves. Next Level Marriage Podcast. We're calling you to something deeper, something pure and